It is just before dawn and still dark outside. I'm riding down a highway in my grandfather's red Jimmy truck. Bumba is driving. His German Shepherd Jake is riding shotgun. And my cousin Jordan and I are in the back. We are 10 years old, and it is our first day of work on the farm. Jordan and I are observing a quiet reverence in the back seat. We are on the edge of something sacred and transformative, a rite of passage in our family that will directly tie us to our fathers and their father and his father. Today, we are taking a leap across the threshold of boyhood toward a dark and mysterious cavern of manhood, wherein we must labor together and bring forth fruit from the earth. For the next 2 weeks, Jordan and I will be alone with our grandfather in Manistee. He has always been present and active in our lives, but we have never spent an extended time alone with him. I love my grandfather, but it is not the same kind of love I have for other men in my life at that time, like my father or my Uncle Johnny. Bumba is a different kind of man. He is from a different age and is of a different ilk. It is more apt to say that I revere him. There is love in reverence, but there is also awe that is rooted in a certain distance and inaccessibility. And yes, there is a small element of fear. And now we are alone with him, miles and miles away from Pitsy, our nurturing grandmother and protector, who softens our grandfather's sharper edges. It is unclear how the three of us will survive on our own for longer than a few days. Suddenly, and without warning or appropriate reduction in speed, we veer off the highway and are driving through a row of apple trees. There is no road. Bumba is simply plowing through an orchard at what seems like a totally unnecessary and dangerous rate of speed. Branches are pounding against the side of the car, and leaves and sticks and fruit are falling into the open windows. Jordan and I are being tossed about our seats in the back, and it is completely and totally exhilarating. Bumba appears calm and in total control, which is difficult to understand because he is talking to the dog and does not have his hands on the steering wheel. He is not known for his driving skills, but somehow I know we are completely and totally safe. Why? Because my grandfather can do certain things that other men cannot do. He transcends many of life's basic rules and limitations. We arrive safely in a sprawling cherry orchard where Jordan and I are unceremoniously ejected from his vehicle. Bumba and Jake drive off into the distance as the sun rises over the rolling orchard hills, and now our work is underway. It is tedious and it is boring. It is now blazingly hot, and we forget to ration and soon run out of water. I have never experienced such physically exhausted and mind-numbing monotony. I desperately want to quit, but I cannot quit. I would never live that down. And so we keep working, and as the day wears on, something shifts. We begin to lose ourselves in the rhythm and the repetition of the work. We join with other farm workers, real farm workers, migrants, who depend on this work and this land for their livelihood. I feel a tinge of shame and worry that they will spurn us. We are, after all, privileged grandchildren who are really just play acting out there. We can walk away from this at any time. They cannot. But they do not spurn us. They are kind, and they are welcoming, and they give us water. And they tell us that our grandfather is a good man. That Jarvis, he can be tough, but he is honest, and he is fair, and he treats everyone with respect. Yes, even here among his workers, my grandfather is loved, just as he is loved by women and men everywhere. And now we are proud to be his grandsons, working hand in hand with these laborers in the field. And something else is happening too. The work is melting away all barriers and differences between us. We are the same. We are equal. We are one. And the work itself has transformed. It is still tedious, but it has now taken on a greater significance. We are together striving and suffering and persevering and succeeding in a great and profoundly important collective effort to clear this goddamn cherry field. Sorry, Rabbi. And for the first time in my young life, I am transcending the limitations of individual experience, and I am tapping into something greater than myself. And over the next 2 weeks, I continue to labor, and as I labor, I continue to learn some of my life's greatest lessons. Lessons about the dignity of work, the importance of character, and the fundamental equality and worth of men and women everywhere. And as things develop in the field, so too does our relationship with our grandfather. We are no longer just his mischievous, coddled young grandchildren. We are men. Or at least we are starting to feel like men. He is no longer dishing out walking around money to us. No, we are earning our keep. And we are earning his respect in the process. And in between the hours of seemingly endless labor, we are spending time with him. More time than we have ever spent before. We are opening up to him, and he is opening up to us. We are bonding. He is telling us about the war and how he met Pitsy and what our fathers and Debbie were like as children. We are beginning to really and truly know him and love him, not just to revere him. And by the way, we are surviving just fine without Pitsy, thank you very much, because we have Big Boy, the great Michigan diner, and we eat at Big Boy 3 times a day, and we all order whatever we want with no questions asked, including milkshakes at breakfast, and it is magnificent. At the end of the day, we are tired. It is a bone-deep tiredness that I have never experienced, and it aches, but it also feels good. And before bed every night, we descend to the water and we bathe together in the lake. We pass one bright green bar of Irish spring soap back and forth between the 3 of us, and we talk and we laugh and we scrub ourselves with the soap and the sand and the stones from the water. And now we have crossed a great divide with our grandfather and are forever bound to him like never before. He has shepherded us through our first transition out of childhood, as only he could do. And as we bathe together in the clear and vast lake waters, directly over our heads, the blazing orange sun sets across a dazzling pink sky.